Are you using your social superpower? Hello, my name is Stephanie Thoma. I'd like to start this video by asking you a question. And that question is, do you let people show you who they are? Many people subscribe to gossip or reputation, and sometimes that is a social currency, and those things are true. However, do you allow people to prove the masses wrong? Are you able to have an open mind with someone that you have never met? So, in the case of public figures, this happens all the time, this projection. Let's say that you have a group of people that have an idea of a person, so you subscribe to their idea because you may never meet this person. Or let's say that one person in your friend group met this celebrity or individual one time, not a great experience. So then it taints their experience, they spread the word, and it taints everyone else's experience. This can actually work in the reverse way as well. Let's say that someone had a really positive, fleeting experience with someone in society, whether it be someone that's well known, a public person, someone who maybe is not always that accessible, and they amplify that one positive experience into they're a good person. So let's say that you have positive sentiments about that individual because of all of the great things that you have heard. And this becomes a prophecy where it can start with one person making a judgment for better or worse and trickle out. This really makes the case for honing the power of your first impression because it can make or break your social life. Or let's say that you even had a positive impression of someone based on a micro experience or even hanging out with them multiple times, but then someone that you really like and respect doesn't like that person. And you decide that you don't either. As you can probably tell, this isn't about like and dislike. What this is ultimately about is connection. So when people say, oh, I don't care what anyone thinks of me or if people like me, what they may be alluding to is, oh, I'm fine on my own and I don't care if I'm connected or not. When we all know research increasingly shows the power of being socially connected. People who live the longest have social ties. People who are the happiest have social ties. And not just a large quantity of them, but ones that are enduring and ones that feel not just strong, but where there's an ability to be resilient. There's an ability to have imperfections exist and decide to be rooted in the shared importance of the dynamic. And this is what can cause some relationships to no longer work, where either through direct experience or enough chatter it dissolved because at least one person decided that it was not strong enough. We've heard what people say says more about them than what they are saying about the person. But how often do we take a step back to identify when we've decided to go with the default setting of our immediate society, of our immediate friend group, of our families? I was thinking about this the other day, and sometimes when people are talking smack about someone, they will go into vivid detail about physical characteristics and basically vilify them and speak so poorly of this individual, really downplaying their looks or pointing out something. So an example of this could be, let's say that someone's overweight. If that person is perceived as a kind person, then it would obviously be rude to bring it up. People may not bring it up. But if that person is perceived as being a negative force to someone else or to a group of people, then they become this fat pig. Think about this for a second. Think about how that person could be projected upon in some way. Maybe it's not that they're this horrible person, maybe they triggered someone and this person didn't like what they saw, so they're actually exhibiting the traits of a toxic person while calling the other person toxic. Can we take a moment to let that set in? If you happen to know of someone who is commonly spoken of for better or worse. Or maybe you are that person and you have an awareness that, yeah, some people are talking. You're putting yourself out there. Maybe you are a creative. Maybe you're a politician. Maybe you are in business and you understand that you're putting yourself out there and people have their impressions. Maybe you have an awareness of it that is heightened or has room for growth. And either way, it is what it is. It's fine. But it's kind of like the person who vents about their partner, so let's say business partner, romantic partner, and says all these things to another person, and the other person maybe doesn't say anything, or maybe even gives a nod, maybe not necessarily even to agree with the person, but to just kind of acknowledge, okay, you said that. And then that person not feeling comfortable talking with their own partner and instead scapegoating the person that they divulged it to, that maybe didn't stand up for the person and saying, well, this person thinks da da da. So insert whatever thing you could there. And then the person who was in the presence of gossip could wonder, huh, not only, let's say this person isn't talking to me, but this other person is also not talking to me. Some people would say, well, don't even bother. It's not even worth it to think about all the possible things that could have happened. But these are real social dynamics that can take place when people are not comfortable and flat out refuse to own their truth. And when you own your truth, it's not about getting other people on board necessarily. And it's not necessarily about speaking out against an individual. It should ideally further what you stand for. It should not bring down what you're against. The focus should be on what you are for. So, what people get wrong in society is getting caught up in the ideology of bringing people down so that they can rise up, when really it's not about bringing this person down. So then, okay, then you can go up. It's about if you're both here, keep on rising higher. We've heard this rhetoric before, but this can become a coping mechanism that some people engage in when they feel threatened. Owning your truth takes introspection and contemplation. We don't live in a vacuum. However, identifying within yourself, how do you feel about the people around you in your life? Do you need other people to validate if you don't like someone, or if you do? Are you able to let people be who they are? How offendable are you? Do you take it personally if someone is late? Do you take it personally if someone voices their needs and maybe doesn't ask about yours? Do you take it personally when people find fault in you? My intention is that this video spurred a slightly different way of thinking about topics that many of us have grown up hearing about in a super trite fashion. And yeah, I'd like us to revisit them because, especially as there are a lot of shifts in our society, in our interpersonal dynamics, in the kinds of people that we choose to be amidst change, this is where our power lies. And not just claiming our own narratives, but allowing others to claim theirs. Wishing you a beautiful day. Until next time.